And
what the devil is going on? Where are our reinforcements? Why does Willem not ride out to face the foe, relieve besieged towns?
I can't say, Your Grace. We haven't had a single scroll from the Prince.
Gods be damned. I've the impression I'm alone in fighting the Blackclads.
Beware, my lady. Keep a keen watch. Heard the thunder of hooves from the high road. Cries ferocious in a foreign tongue.
Meave's retinue was riding through a narrow gully when a shrill cry cut the air.
En van den order!
The gully came alive, and soldiers in black armor rushed forth. A cry in turn went up and down Meave's ranks. Ambush!
Defensive formation!
Scrubbing duty again? Oh, gods.
Oh, Lyrian lummoxes.
New orders? No?
Trouver les gloires!
One boat.
Alba!
Give me a time.
Off to the front yet again.
Army's a waste of time for one like me.
Quiet, or the Commissar will hear.
try to win them all, but you won't.
Brach! Scheiß! In Trey!
Arbalist at your command.
Off to the front yet again.
I'm aboard, sir.
My prescription, a bit of bloodletting.
Can't take it anymore.
A highly curious case.
I want them taken alive! I need answers!
After the skirmish, the Queen's troops brought several Nilfgaardian prisoners before her. Reynard, who had the best command of their mongrel tongue, interrogated. His first question? How many battalions were marching on Dravograd?
Kes, Zagdran, Ep, Dravograd, Ven.
The prisoners whispered feverishly, then one spoke on their behalf. They would answer no questions until the Queen pledged to free them in return. The Lyrian soldiers saw this as arrogance and said as much.
Conditions they're giving us now? Sons of whores! I say, we find a tree with a strong bough, several...
Ignoring the objections of her retinue, Meve pledged what the soldiers wished. They, in turn, admitted their commander had pushed forward ahead of the army's core force. He now awaited reinforcements that would let him take Dravograd. The prisoners claimed these units would march through the village of Turnifen.
To lay there in ambush. Hold them. They could not join forces.
Reynard whispered, leaning in towards the Queen.
We would gain the advantage for the decisive battle.
Meve had obtained invaluable information, while the prisoners would gain their freedom. Or so it seemed at the time.
I would ask you to pledge to not reveal our position to your commanders,
said the Queen.
Yet so eager were you to share your army's secrets with me that your word is of no value. Leave my sight.
Once the Queen's words had been translated, the prisoners breathed a sigh of relief. Freed, they ran as fast as they could towards a wood, glancing back to make certain there was no pursuit. But Meve kept her promise.
Blackclads trampled my son, your majesty. You saw him walking along the road. He didn't...
Give me a target.
Ah!
Got any victuals? Hungry like a wolf I am.
Our ballista, your command.
Ah!
Armor won't say.
Left, right, left, right.
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
I'm coming, I'm coming.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die. Aye.
You can try to win them all, but you won't.
Company! Forward march!
Ah!
Niamh and company passed by a village evidently pillaged by the Nilfgaardians. From afar they had heard cries, but as they drew near they recognized them not as cries of grief, but as cursing, cries of anger.
Give him a proper walloping, the scoundrel!
Mercy, good folk! I've done nothing wrong!
The villagers stood gathered near the hamlet's centre, surrounding an elf, bloodied and cowering. Stones in hand, the peasants threatened and cursed him. The queen demanded an explanation. A ruddy-faced blacksmith stepped forth and spit.
A Nilfgaardian spy the whoreson is, your majesty. He's the one brought him here to raise the village. He's gotta hang.
The other villagers agreed with the smith. The elf fell at the queen's feet and grovelled.
Have mercy, Renner. Save your loyal subject. They lie! They fault me only as I am an elf.
Whence this certainty of his guilt? Have you any proof?
Asked Meave.
Did anyone see him communing with the foe? Did he hold any coin with a foreign stamp?
The villagers eyed Meave angrily, their hands clenched into fists. Yet none dared utter a word in protest.
Know this. The Blackclads need no reason to pillage our homes. Now stand aside and let this wretch go.
The elf tearfully thanked the queen, then begged her not to leave him behind. Instead, he pleaded vehemently to join her retinue.
Your most noble grace, please, I beg you. As soon as you're gone, the Dwan will hang me from the nearest tree.
So be it.
Said the queen after a moment's consideration.
Find the quartermaster. He's to put you to work. And now we march.
The villagers gazed with hatred as the company left the hamlet.
I swear it, your majesty. The elf was scheming with the Blackclads. The gods be witnesses.
Meave's force made its way to the place the prisoners had indicated, a quaint village named Turnefan. And indeed, soon a cloud of dust appeared on the horizon. A large enemy force approached.
We await your order, your grace.
Reynard peered at Meave expectantly. Though her troops were eager to face the invaders in battle, the queen never gave the signal to attack. Perhaps she did not wish to strain her force before a decisive struggle, or feared she would lose the element of surprise. Yet Meave...
$152, $154.
Off to the front yet again.
Ours is not to reason lie. Scrubbing duty again? Oh, gods.
Left, right, left, right.
Quiet, or the Commissar will hear.
Aye.
Again and again and again.
You can try to win them all, but you won't.
One bullet's all I need.
New orders? No?
An army's a waste of time for one like me.
Must be an important lesson in this. But what?
What? Who dares? Should have listened to me old lady. Give me a time. Abolition, your command. I'm a one, sir.
Hector.
Brach! Scheiß! In!
Hey! We must trust each other.
This harvest will be reaping black-clad heads.
Yes.
Off to the front yet again. Boots of sand are plenty in them.
Off to Wetterton, are ye? Bonny tune that. Just the folk of beyond shite.
As they neared Wetterton, the Queen ordered her company to halt. She then sent men to the town for supplies. Those sent returned more quickly than she'd assumed they would, their satchels empty, their mounts foaming at the mouth.
Your Majesty, the townsfolk have gone right mad. Herded all the elves and dwarves at Market Square. 'Tis a slaughter.
The Queen knew well that if she failed to intervene, the town's streets would flow with non-human blood. Just as she knew her meager force might not subdue an enraged crowd.
What is your command, your grace?
Reynard's question pierced the silence.
What can it be, dear friend?
Answered the Queen, then spurred her mount and rode off towards the town. Her troops followed, running as fast as their legs would carry them. When they passed inside the town gate, they saw corpses lining the gutters. Meve realized she had arrived too late to prevent a tragedy. The crowd was drunk on blood. Its rage would need to be quelled with an iron fist.
Step away, or see your heads bounce down the cobblestones! Reynard, who started this? I must know. So much hatred. We must put a stop to it.
Got any victuals? Hungry like a wolf, I am.
Company! We will strike the largest club.
Step away, or see your heads bounce down the cobblestones! Reynard, who started this? I must know. So much hatred.
Can't take it anymore.
Company! We will strike the largest club.
Happily, Meve restored order without suffering any losses. Reynard then learned that a nobleman's ire had triggered the violence, ire at having discovered a theft.
Suspicion fell on the non-humans he employed. He accused them, they protested, and the row soon engulfed the town. But there's something else, your grace.
Reynard gestured towards an aged man who stood grieving, his face in his hands.
I've witnesses who claim the strays of Sparla are the thieves.
Though the tragedy seemed the result of a misunderstanding, Justice would have to be served. Those responsible for the slaughter would need to be punished. The question was, how severely?
You are guilty. That can't be denied.
Said the Queen, turning towards the bloody rioting's instigators.
A false rumor you took, and turned into a cruel lynch. Thus punishment is your lot. A public lashing, fines, imprisonment. But you shall keep your lives. For enough
Wetterton's inhabitants breathed a sigh of relief. But the non-human survivors took offense at the lenient sentence. Soon after, the Lyrian army's elves and dwarves quietly disappeared, deserted. Few doubted the reason. They would not risk their necks for a queen who held their lives in such low regard. The Lyrians entered the graveyard. Crickets chirped in its tall, windswept grass, and lush green moss covered its crumbling gravestones. Only a fresh bloodstain upon a mausoleum wall suggested that something disturbed the dead in their rest and hunted the living.
Save your tears, throw earth your grief.
An eerie voice sang, its ghastly lament standing Maeve's hair on end.
Soon your life too shall cease as you pass into the eternal glow.
A pockmarked, pustule-ridden creature crawled out from behind some gravestones. It vaguely resembled a shriveled, hunchbacked hag, until its head split into two halves, forming a tooth-spiked maw.
Attack! Everyone!
Our ballista, your command. This harvest will be reaping black-clad heads. Armor won't say.
Keep calm, Tiberius.
One bullet's all I need.
What was that filth?
The Queen croaked hoarsely as the dying monster writhed in agony at her feet.
I know not, your grace,
replied Reynard.
But to be safe, I would have the corpse chopped up and burned. Elsewise, we will not be certain it shall not return.
Yes, have it done.
Meve said, brushing her hair from her beaded brow.
But quickly, lest dusk catch us in this foul place.
The Lyrians soon resumed their march. As they left the cemetery behind them, some believed they still heard the haunting dirge upon the air. Or was it just the wind, whistling past mossy tombstones?